Hundreds of homeless San Diegans were at Golden Hall this week looking for help, and they got an outpouring from haircuts and dental care to blankets and toiletries from more than 60 organizations and scores of volunteers. Tom Fudge, KPBS reporter and author of the blog On Ramp, was there, and he joins me now with more on Project Homeless Connect. So, what is Project Homeless Connect?
Gloria, Project Homeless Connect is a project that has been done in San Diego. It's also been done in some other California cities. The idea is to take one day where you invite the homeless to come to a place like Golden Hall in downtown San Diego and get a number of agencies there who can help hook these people up, hopefully with jobs, with housing, with dental care, with medical care. Also, it is organized in such a way that people who want to donate things to the homeless, things that people need to live and survive on the streets, jackets, rolling suitcases, stuff like that. They can all, there's one place where you can bring everything.
Well, we've certainly seen the homeless wandering the streets, rolling things, but that's interesting, rolling suitcases.
Rolling suitcases, that was one of the things that they recommended people bring by.
Who did you see there? Did you see men, women, children, families? What was the mix like?
A bit of both. When you look at the environment of downtown San Diego, where this took place, you see a lot of homeless men, and I think more than women, more than children, you saw quite a few homeless men. And I talked to as many of them as I could, and of course everybody's got a story. One person told me that he was homeless because he was a caregiver to his brother, who was an alcoholic and had pancreatic cancer, and so he would take care of his brother, and as his brother would move to one place to the next, he'd follow and they'd end up homeless. Another person said he had a home in Arizona, but he was arrested in San Diego, spent some time in jail, and according to the terms of his probation, he can't leave the city, so he's homeless here. Another person told me the most familiar story, which was, I lost my job, I lost my car, I lost my home, and I'm on the street. Simple as that.
And so they were willing to share these stories with you?
Oh, yes, yes.
Why?
Well, I think because it feels good to tell people your story, and also I think they were in a place where they felt safe, where they felt like there were people who were there to take care of them, people who were being generous to them. And this was one thing that was really remarkable about Homeless Project Connect. There was just a good feeling in the room, and this was a time when the homeless could come in, even if they didn't get a job, even if they didn't get a permanent place to stay as a result of this event. They could be indoors, they could get some lunch, and they could get some free clothing, and so there was a good feeling about the thing.
Is that what they were really looking for? Were they looking for hopefully walking away with a job?
Well, people were coming for a wide variety of reasons. You mentioned haircuts, and I talked to the woman who helped to organize the Project Homeless Connect, and she said the one thing they didn't bargain on was so many people wanting haircuts. There was a long line for haircuts. Other people came in for dental care. Homeless people have terrible dental problems. But most of the people I talked to said they were looking for two things, housing and jobs.
And did they get them?
I don't know. I would have to follow up to find out. There were organizations that tried to hook them up with jobs. There were a lot of organizations there that offered transitional housing and emergency housing. The homeless are a diverse population. Some of them do actually live on the street, as you would expect. There are other people who are living in shelters, some people moving from one home to another if they happen to have acquaintances in San Diego. So everybody's a little bit different.
But it's interesting because what I'm gathering from you sitting here is that the general feeling was a good feeling. It wasn't hopeless, was it?
No, for one day at least. There was a lot of hope and a lot of cheer on both the sides of the people who were donating services and also on the side of the homeless. One thing that was kind of curious, there were a variety of things that were brought in and donated, and one of them, and somebody donated several dozen tweed blue-green fedoras, and there was a table that was filled with these fedoras, and they were a fairly popular item. So suddenly you saw people in Golden Hall all wearing these sort of strange hats, and I'm sure day or two after the event, you would occasionally in downtown see somebody with a blue-green fedora, and if you did, they probably went to Project Homeless Connect.
Well, you leave us with a very good image. Thank you very much, Tom Fudge.
Thank you.